What's going on, guys? So consistently, everyone's telling me to debate Cliff. He's a super big persona in the community. I am a nobody, so I do not think it would be possible for me to debate him. What I'm going to do, and what I'm willing to do, is at least react to his public arguments, his preaching, his evangelizing, and see what responses I can give you guys. So we'll go on ahead and watch this. What's up, bud? And yeah, all right.
I find myself struggling with believing in God, like something you can't see. So how do you like remain so strong in your faith with believing in something that you can't actually see?
Good question. Can I see your brain?
No.
No.
Ooh. You can't see the brain. Me and you just looking at it. Looking at a human, we can't just look at a human and see the brain. But what you can do is see the effects of it, and you can see brains. You can look at a cadaver. You can use an MRI machine, etc. There are tools to test, see, and observe the brain. We know the brain is there. It is falsifiable and demonstrable.
Can I smell your brain?
Yes.
Can I touch your brain?
Yes.
No, I'm not going to try to do a lobotomy on you, sir. Don't worry.
Even he admits that you can do a lobotomy, for instance, and affect a brain. Because it is tangible, it is demonstrable, it is falsifiable, it is an empirical thing.
All right. You're articulate. You've just asked a very hard, very thoughtful question. Obviously, between your two handsome ears is a brain. You've dressed yourself. I assume your teammates did not dress you this morning. You dressed yourself, right? Congratulations, you guys, on winning the Ivy League this year. That's awesome. All right. So, I have never seen your brain, smelled it, or touched it, but I'm convinced you have a brain because of the orderly way you dress yourself and the articulate speech that flows from.
There's evidence of the brain. We can see neurons. There's neurology. The effects of the brain are obvious due to testing and lead to the empirical thing that is tangible called the brain. We know all of these effects are due to the brain. There's evidence showing that when you think, neurons fire and muscles move. Right? I'm not a neurologist, but you know what I'm saying. We know that the brain does X, Y, and Z, and then these effects happen.
In your mouth. Similarly, I cannot see God, touch God, or smell God.
And there's no cause and effect of God linked to anything. We can link walking to the brain via neural activity. There is none of that for God. You cannot link walking to God.
But the amazing order and design of the universe points me to some type of intelligent mind.
No, it is natural. You have to provide evidence of a designer.
Know that mind?
Or at least link. If you think that there's no way that this could be natural, you have to find the cause for the effect. You have to link the cause and effect. For instance, brain, neuron firing, thought. The neurons are the cause from the brain for the effect of thoughts and actions. There's a connection.
Obviously, but there's got to be an intelligent mind. Why are you so...
Hear that word, gotta be. Gotta be. He thinks there is because it doesn't make sense to him.
Convinced of that, Cliff? Well, obviously, I'm not a football player. But about 50 years ago, I really wanted to play basketball at Davidson College down in North Carolina. So I was there trying out, and I barely made the team. And I had good seats for every game. And the reason I had good seats for every game was because I couldn't put a ball through a hoop 10 feet off the ground at a high enough percentage. So I was on the bench for every game. So if someone wants to tell me, oh yeah, well, putting a ball through a hoop 10 feet off the ground, it just happens by chance. I know that's a lie. I tried it. It doesn't work. And I did not have the physical coordination, the quickness, the talent to put the ball through the hoop enough times to play against NC State, UCLA. No.
But we know that a human running, jumping, and moving the ball into the hoop is the cause for the effect of the ball going through the hoop.
Notre Dame, St. John's.
The thing with the God of the Gaps argument of this doesn't make sense, it must be God, is you have to have a causal link to connect them. Did God make atoms? How do you know that? How do I know that the brain causes movement of human bodies? Neurons, MRI machines. How do I know that the ball going through the hoop is due to a man? Because without the man walking, running, jumping, and moving his arms to put the ball in the hoop, the ball will not go through the hoop. What do you have to link Adam's creations, the atom, not like Adam and Eve, Adam, to God? Is there a cause with a linked effect? And what is the effect? What is causing the effect? What is causing the ball going through the hoop? The man's arms, the jumping of the man's legs, etc.
I wanted to be on that court, but I couldn't get the ball through the hoop at a high enough percentage. So I know that if someone wants to tell me order comes from chaos by chance, they're smoking something I don't want to smoke. That's ludicrous.
Chaos theory shows that there's still order, even in chaos.
So the first reason that I'm convinced that God exists, this unseen God, is because order and design point to some type of intelligent mind.
No.
Another reason that I believe in God, even though I
You
can't
have to prove that the universe is designed.
see God, is because I experience love.
Love is a chemical reaction in the brain.
Would you please show me a foot of love? Would you please show me a pound of love? You know you can't, neither can I. But you also know that it's
Actually, we could. We could get all of the chemicals that make up love in the brain and get a pound of those chemicals and put it into a vat.
real. You also know you take love out of your life, and I don't care how many Ivy League titles you win in football, it's baloney. Because all your relationships with your teammates are just going to be robotic. No, you got relationships with the football players here at Harvard, and those relationships and friendships, I think, mean even more than winning the Ivy League title. So, you just got to think and observe your life. Yeah, but Cliff, you can't scientifically prove God. You're absolutely right. I could never scientifically prove God. The same way we cannot scientifically
Probably because it's not true.
disprove God. And you know what's wrong? What's wrong is
I
this
also can't disprove unicorns.
line of thinking. Unless you can scientifically prove it, it's not true. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
We don't say that. If it's not scientifically proven, it's not true as a straw man. That's not what we say. We say there's no evidence for it, so there's no justification for belief in it. Again, same for Harry Potter. We know that it's a book. We know that it's fantasy. I can't disprove that Hogwarts doesn't exist, but due to lack of evidence of a physical place called Hogwarts, it is unreasonable to believe that it exists. Due to the lack of evidence of unicorns, it is unreasonable to believe that they exist, and due to the lack of evidence of Santa Claus, it is unreasonable to believe that Santa Claus exists. Due to the lack of evidence, it is unreasonable to believe. You have to have evidence or a proof to some degree for said belief.
Would you please scientifically prove to me that unless I can scientifically prove something, it's not true? You see that statement, unless
Straw
you can
man.
scientifically prove something, it's not true, is not science. It's a philosophy. And it happens to be a philosophy that is totally wrong. It's self-contradictory. Does not work.
I think, intelligent design is proof enough of, an intelligent creator. But
Yep.
how would you go on to prove that this God is still relational beyond the creation?
How would you prove that this God is the Christian God? There's, what, 2,000 gods?
Very good. Hard question. That is exactly where Jesus Christ enters the picture. See, at first, there's enough
Jesus Christ, the evidence for Jesus involves a few men. Pliny the Younger, Josephus, Tacitus. Those are three of the strongest evidences, quote unquote, for Jesus. Here's the problem. It's 100% hearsay with zero contemporary. There's not one single contemporary writing source or data, even from the Romans, about this man named Jesus.
evidence that some type of intelligent mind exists. But what is this intelligent mind like? Who is this God? And Jesus claimed to be God, revealing himself in human form,
According to a
speaking
book.
human language.
According to a book. According to a story.
Well, come on, guys. That's the way you learn. Language, communication, relationship. Hi, I'm Cliff. What's your name?
Chris.
What? What's your... Okay, not only am I being rude to Chris, I'm an arrogant twit. I think I know your name better than you do. So I'm going to create you to be Andrew or Harry, when in reality, you're Chris. Just take it to God. Hey, God, you're a 6'1" white God. Yeah, that's not the real living God. That's a God who's an idealized version of myself. Don't play that game. I don't create God. You don't create God. God exists separate from me and separate from you. Therefore,
How do we know that's true?
question is, in the same way that I have to have the humility to allow you to be Chris and reveal to me your real name,
You have evidence that he is Chris because he can demonstrably showcase it.
it is equally true about God. I better have the humility to allow God to reveal himself, whoever.
God has not provided demonstrable evidence that he is God, that he exists, nor that he made anything.
God is. That's where Muhammad, the avatars of Hinduism, and Jesus Christ enter the picture, all claiming to reveal God accurately. But they contradict each other, although they are in agreement on a lot of ethical issues. They also contradict each other, so they can't all be right.
Well, Hinduism came
So then
first.
the question is, who is supported by the best evidence? Who is trustworthy? Who can you rely on?
Considering there's zero contemporary evidence for Jesus, and Muhammad has contemporary evidence, Muhammad's a lot more trustworthy. Am I saying go and convert to Islam? No. Is there anything wrong with being Muslim? No. But there's more evidence for Muhammad than there is Jesus. I would trust Muhammad before I trusted Jesus.
Who is credible? And I think the evidence
The most credible would be Muhammad.
of the way Jesus lived, taught, died, and rose from the dead, Chris, is he's reliable. If you die, sir,
Prove he lived, died, and rose from the dead. Prove it.
and rise from the dead, I promise to listen very carefully to everything you have to say.
People pass away and come back from the dead on a daily occurrence. It's called NDEs. The brain, the body, the heart, they can shut down for a certain amount of time, and they could be brought back. So are all of those cases God?
It's that resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead that sets Christ apart as totally unique.
Do you know the story of like the prostitute when they bring him in front of they bring him in front of Jesus?
John 8.
Yes, and he says,
Yeah.
let the person who has no sin cast the first stone. That story, my friend just brought this up to me yesterday.
To further add into that, it was also said by Paul, I want to say it's Paul, I might be wrong on this. Why are you judging your neighbor for the speck in their eye when you have a plank in your own? That's not the entirety of that verse. It then says, first, remove the plank from your eye so that you can help your neighbor remove the speck from theirs. So even according to the Bible, you are supposed to help other people who are blind. That verse in and of itself gets taken out of context all the time. You guys need to read your Bibles. Atheists, you need to read your Bibles. Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, read the Bible. Read it. Read these things that you talk about, these things that you learn about, these things that you don't believe in. Read them so that you have a reason to not accept belief in them.
Yes.
He knew we can be here.
Yes.
Later added on.
Yes.
So how do I, like, especially because we're looking at it like, with the document, I rely on this document. This is what I believe in.
Good.
It's being later added on. Where's the credibility in that?
You bet. Well, the credibility is that for years there's been a footnote under John chapter 8, verses 1 to 11. This account is not found in the earliest Greek manuscripts. We have such a high degree of certainty that we really have what those authors wrote. It's embarrassing. Are there some textual questions? Yes, sir, there are. But remember, the New Testament that we have in English today is based on 5,800 Greek manuscripts or pieces of manuscript dated from the early 2nd century through the
The names for the Gospels, by the way, were added in the 2nd century. The Gospels are completely anonymous.
10th century, all agreeing to an infinitesimal degree. So 5,800 Greek manuscripts, 10,000 handwritten Latin Vulgate manuscripts.
So the manuscripts that he's talking about, the Latin, are from the 800s plus. Sorry, dog wants my food. And yes, he's been fed. Those aren't eyewitnesses. first of all. Not even close. 800. Over 700 years after the events. That's not contemporary. By the way, the manuscripts are fragments. There is not a single full page. We have fragments that we're putting together, and we are putting the story together.
9,300.
So we only have 50 manuscripts. We only have about 50 manuscripts from the first 300 years. So not only are they not contemporary, but there's also only 50. So no, you don't have a lot of manuscripts. You have 0 contemporary manuscripts, first of all. I mean, these are all stories being written down, same as Greek mythology. That's what you have. Do you really want to count that as your manuscript? Because if that's the case, let's go to Hinduism. They're going to have a lot more. Mesopotamia, let's go to their manuscripts. So if you want to go down the manuscript path, we have 50 manuscripts for the Gospels, early manuscripts. Okay, you have 2,000 plus manuscripts that are just rewritings, just people rewriting it. There's thousands of manuscripts for Hinduism. There's more manuscripts for Hinduism than there is for the Gospel, by the thousands.
Syriac, Slavic, Gothic, Ethiopic, Coptic, and Armenian manuscripts. Sir, we have approximately 25,000.
False.
Handwritten.
Are there literally handwritten, 25,000 handwritten? Yeah, but there's also 25,000 of Harry Potter handwritten. Well, not handwritten, but you know what I'm saying. We have thousands of copies of Santa Claus. Tens of thousands of copies of Santa Claus. So what? You have 50. 50. And they're shreds. They're like credit card sized pieces of paper.
Manuscripts of the New Testament.
They don't.
If you were to wipe all those out, in the writings of the early church fathers from the 2nd through the 4th century,
2nd to the 4th century,
there are 38,380.
2nd to 4th century. Hundreds of years after the events. None of these are contemporary. 100% are rewritings.
9 quotes in the writings of the early church fathers from the 2nd through the 4th century. In other words, we have every verse in the New Testament in the writings of the early church fathers except for 11. So we have an incredibly high degree of certainty that we really have what was written. Is it a perfect computer printout? No, it is not. Are there manuscript variants? Yes, there are. But
there's 40,000 denominations of this Abrahamic God.
Those variants, none of them change the basic fundamental message of the gospel of Jesus Christ. So it's been carefully preserved. Read it simply as history and ask yourself, does the historical evidence point to Christ being reliable or not?
You know, some people say, well, what if they were like schizophrenic or they were mass hallucinating? And I usually say, you know, it's 500 people. But to that, what would you respond to that?
Yeah, psychologically, you can't have mass hallucinations. It's impossible. As a therapist with my own eyes, I've seen them hallucinate. I've seen them have mass delusions.
Do you guys remember the mass psychosis of the dancing people? I don't remember what it was called. We've had many times in history where a mass amount of people had some sort of psychosis due to something. There's always a due to. There's always a cause for the effect. Be it psychosis, something in the water, something. There's always something. All right, so this video is already over the time that I wanted it to be. If you guys do like this, hit the like button and comment that you want more of it, and I'll continue making these. This video alone is an hour long, and we only got 8 minutes into it. So again, let me know that you want to see more of these. Hit the subscribe button and share it with a friend. Follow me on TikTok and other social medias, links in bio.